Well, might as well take advantage of what little bit of daylight we have left here and try to do this Weird Al review that I was talking about. So, Running with Scissors versus Poodle Hat. No sense in lingering on extraneous dialogue. Let's just get right into it. Okay, so Running with Scissors track 1 is The Saga Begins. Poodle Hat's track 1 is Couch Potato, the parody of Eminem's Lose Yourself. Both absolutely excellent songs. Both of them basically home runs. But, man, how do you even choose here? I mean, I think I've pretty much made up my mind already, though, that The Saga Begins is just timeless. Just about as timeless as the song it's making fun of, you know. And it's catchy, he gets all the syllables perfectly. Like, every single syllable of The Saga Begins is accounted for. And just stays completely faithful to the original. But then you could say the same about Couch Potato, though. Like, every single little nuance of that song, Lose Yourself, you know, is in there. You know, every little hook, every little thing that Eminem does with his voice, every single syllable. That's why Weird Al is so great, though, is because he really gets to know the songs that he's making fun of. You know, he doesn't just half-ass it and say, oh, I'm just going to throw the chord sequence together and maybe improv a little bit on my own time. I mean, no, he stays very faithful to the originals while still putting his own spin on the lyrics. So, and both of these songs are great examples of that, but I think The Saga Begins is just too good. You know, first of all, the fact that it's mimicking such a well-known song and yet still manages to get all the rhymes the same, you know, my, this is your Anakin guy, maybe Vader someday later, now he's just a small fry. You know, and even that would have been good enough, but he keeps the rhymes going with, oh, he kisses mommy goodbye and saying soon I'm gonna be a Jedi. It's just, oh, by the time he gets to that point, your mind is basically just on the floor. But at the same time, Lose Yourself is actually probably funnier, Couch Potato is probably the funnier of the two. So if anything, the rhymes in that song are actually even more, you know. The Simon Cowell, folks want to disembowel, opens his mouth, always says something foul. It's just, oh man. His knowledge of TV shows from that time period was so good. The only other thing about Couch Potato, though, is that he did already do a song about that, called I Can't Watch This, you know. So that might be another reason why The Saga Begins would probably have to be the winner of this first debate here. That was tough, though. That was a very tough call, but Running with Scissors wins because of The Saga Begins. So, track 2. I can't believe we're doing this again. In the same part of the forest, too. This has just become the music review forest or something. Track 2 of Running with Scissors, My Baby's in Love with Eddie Vedder. And track 2 of Poodle Hat is Hardware Store. I don't know, My Baby's in Love with Eddie Vedder seems like a very specific situation to sing about, but then I guess so is Hardware Store, really. Both of these songs are really good, but Hardware Store, honestly, is probably my favorite Weird Al song of all time right now. And the little breakdown in the middle where he lists off all the things that he can buy at the store, you know, and he goes on for like 31 seconds there without taking a breath. I don't know how he does it, seriously. Surprisingly, not that much to say about it. I think Hardware Store is definitely the winner, though. You know, I will say that the Baby's in Love with Eddie Vedder does definitely make great use of the accordion. Pretty much straight up ridiculous how cheerful the song is. But Hardware Store definitely rocks harder. And it is even more cheerful if that's even possible. But it's not cheerful in a goofy way, the way the Eddie Vedder song is. Like, Eddie Vedder's almost too goofy. Like, I can't believe it, she's knitting him a sweater, now my baby's, you know, I don't know. It's funny. It is funny. And it's fun to play along with it on guitar. So somewhere out there's a video of me, well, not on YouTube, but there's a video of me trying to learn how to play guitar solos and using that song. I mean, at the time I had a CD player that could hold 200 CDs, and I just set it to shuffle, so you could play any song from any one of those 200 CDs. And that song came out, My Baby's in Love with Eddie Vedder. So I tried to like solo to it on the guitar, and surprisingly it was fun. So there's that. But no, Hardware Store's the winner, so Running with Scissors won, Poodle Hat won. Okay, so track 3, well, let's see here. Running with Scissors is Pretty Fly for a Rabbi, and Poodle Hat is Trash Day. Okay, I think for a lot of people this is probably like an obvious shoe-in here. pretty fly for a Rabbi. But for me, it's a little bit tougher than that. I'm not instantly going to come here and say that Trash Day is the winner. Because even like when the album first came out, I remember just not liking Trash Day that much. And a big part of the reason for that is because the original song sucked. You're Hot in Here. It's just a stupid song. But because of that, I kind of couldn't help but appreciate what Weird Al did with it. You know, like he took it and made it funny. I mean, obviously, that's all of his songs are funny. It's not enough to just say, you know, he made the song funny. You know, it's pretty fly for a Rabbi. It's pretty funny too. And plus, it's also a lot more catchy than Trash Day is. Trash Day, once again, is that jumping around in a pool full of mayonnaise speed, as I've come to call it. I don't know when I started calling it that, but there it is. I think Pretty Fly for a Rabbi is better musically, but Trash Day is better lyrically. Like, I think the subject matter of Trash Day is funnier. Look at all this garbage that I keep generating. Come on, sit around all day and let it biodegrading. Must be 100 health codes that I'm violating. Even my dog passes out and needed resuscitating. It's just non-stop hilarity with that song. I honestly, to be honest, if I'm being honest here, and I have to stay true to myself here, I can't go with what everybody wants. I have more nostalgia for Trash Day than I do for Pretty Fly for a Rabbi, so I'm afraid this one's going to have to go to Poodle Hat. And I understand that a lot of people are going to disagree with me on that, I'm sure. But that's where I'm at with that one. So Poodle Hat wins. Now it's Running with Scissors 1, Poodle Hat 2. This didn't go quite the way I was expecting it to. Like, if you just came up and asked me straight up right now, which is the better album, without even thinking about it, I'd probably say Running with Scissors. Track 4 on Running with Scissors, I believe it's called Party at the Leper Colony. And then on Poodle Hat, it's called the Weird Al Show theme, which I guess Weird Al had a show or something at some point. If he did, I never saw it, and that's too bad because it was probably awesome. But I was never a big fan of either of these two songs, to be honest. The Weird Al Show, obviously, is just a really short theme. It's like a minute long. And Party at the Leper Colony, well, again, I don't really know that much about lepers. Like, I know it's like a term from the Bible, I guess. It's people who lose body parts or something. And so he makes a lot of funny jokes about, like, you give him a hand, you know, or things like that. I don't know if it's in the best taste to make a song about things like that, though, to make a comedy song about things like that. But at the same time, the Weird Al TV show theme, I don't really know anything about that either, so the hell if I know where to go with this one. Well, to me, the thing is, like, if, you know, the Weird Al TV show would be a song that was already established, already made. People had already heard it, so what's the need to put it on an album? I don't know. Whereas Party at the Leper Colony is longer, it's an actual full-length song that was written for the album, so for that, I think I just have to go ahead and give it to the Lepers and say Running with Scissors 2, Poodle Hat 2. So there you go. Now we're tied again. Okay, so track 5, it gets a little weird because track 5 on Running with Scissors is Jerry Springer, and track 5 on Poodle Hat is the Angry White Boy polka. Well, I kind of want to compare the polka songs to each other because I feel like that would be more fair than to put something up against a polka song and then have to do that twice over the course of the review. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to switch track 5 and 7 on Poodle Hat, so that track 5 is a complicated song and track 7 is the Angry White Boy polka. So that way the two polka songs go up against each other. So we have Jerry Springer from Running with Scissors versus a complicated song from Poodle Hat. Oh boy. Okay, here we go. I'm times ahead for this one. Obviously my main catchphrase, one of my most popular catchphrases, came from a complicated song. You know, in the bathroom, that one. Anyway, I don't even need to say it, really. But here's the thing, though. Jerry Springer is just way too good of a song. Okay, so I wasn't like the biggest fan of 1 Week by Bare Naked Ladies, but I can definitely appreciate the fact that it's a very difficult song to sing because of how fast it is. It's just lightning fast syllables coming and going. He just jumps right in there, too. He's like, holy cow, see it last week? Well, they had this one freak who sucker punched his whole family. Do you recall when the brawl became a total free-for-all when Jerry's in the middle trying to be the referee? Hey, see the stripper with the implant? She likes to lap dance and date the boyfriend of her mother. I'm sorry, I've always thought that Jerry Springer might be even better than A Saga Begins, if I'm being honest. That song is so impressive for the way he sings it, the way he puts it all together. So, sorry to cut this one so short, but Jerry Springer wins. Running with Scissors 3, Poodle Hat 2. Track 6 on Running with Scissors is Germs, 9 Inch Nails parody. Well, it's not a parody of any specific song, but when you hear the first few seconds of it, it's like, well, that's obviously closer. And track 6 on Poodle Hat is Wanna Be Your Lover. I always thought Wanna Be Your Lover was like a Barry White parody, but I guess it's supposed to be Beck. Well, according to Weird Al, it's supposed to be like him trying to sound like Beck, trying to sound like Prince. Which, good luck figuring that out. I don't know. I love Wanna Be Your Lover. That's a funny song. He's basically the point of the song is he's going through all these pickup lines. Like, your eyes are as blue as the water in my toilet. Or, like, oh, here's my library card, do you mind if I check you out, or whatever, you know? What was the other one? There was another toilet one in there, something like, my love for you is like diarrhea, I just can't hold it in. That kind of thing. So it's definitely funny, even if the musical side of it is kind of on the slow side and maybe goes on for a little too long at the end. Germs is kind of, well, I mean, it's surprisingly similarly atmospheric in a way. To be honest, I kind of can't remember that much about it. Maybe I should have listened to that before I came here. I do remember kind of liking the song, though. It really rocks. It's got a good, strong, driving beat, and it's gross. It's more gross out humor. Basically, they're both gross humor songs. Germs is probably more likely to make you shudder because you don't hear that kind of humor that much. I don't even know if you would call it humor. And he's talking about bacteria sneaking up on you while you sleep and getting all inside your body, and he's like, please hand me a moist towelette. I mean, ugh. So I think musically, I probably like Wanna Be Your Lover better. But lyrically, I think Germs gets the upper hand just for kind of taking you by surprise. But man, as far as like which one's better, that's a tough choice. This is as close as I've ever been to just calling a tie because I can't really decide on this one. Maybe I'll come back to this one after we see where the score's at. Not that that should matter. I'm not trying to keep it a close race or something. The other thing about Germs I always liked was there's some kind of impressive sound effects going on there. I don't know if I'm just hearing things or if I actually hear some sort of like pig oinking or some kind of something squelching into something else. It's really disheartening. You know what? I'm going to give it to Germs. Germs gets it. Running with Scissors for Poodle Hat 2. Alright, so time for the polkas. Polka Power versus Angry White Boy Polka. So Polka Power basically made fun of all the big hits. You had Wannabe by the Smash Girls. Smash Girls? Holy shit. Spice Girls, my bad. Smash Mouth you had was also in there, Walking on the Sun. There was Hanson, there was Marilyn Manson, there was Beastie Boys. There was Marcy Playground, Sex and Candy was in there. Pretty much anything that you saw on VH1 or MTV was in there, and it was ridiculous. Like every single song you could imagine. The way it ended out with Closing Time was pretty much brilliant, and every little nuance of every little song was in there. There was one more. Who am I not thinking of here? There's the Spice Girls, Marcy Playground, Third Eye Blind. I mean, I guess I named most of them. But anyway, Angry White Boy Polka is more of a genre that I'm not really as big of a fan of. Which is not to say that he didn't do a good job with them, because he definitely did. You can definitely hear, like, when he plays the little on the accordion, that's totally impressive. Yeah, he didn't miss a beat with any of those songs either, though. It's just that I feel like with Angry White Boy Polka, there were too many missed opportunities, though. Like, She Hates Me by Puddle of Mud would have been great. Crawling or anything by Linkin Park really would have worked. There were a couple of Creed songs that were definitely begging to be roasted, but I don't know, I guess you wouldn't classify Creed as Angry White Boy, though, would you? I mean, as far as that goes, even Three Doors Down, you know, you could have, like, put a Duck and Run or something in there, but... So I guess my biggest beef with the Angry White Boy Polka is that I didn't recognize half of the songs, so maybe that's... You know, and that's mostly my fault, but sadly, because of my life experience or whatever. But I don't know, I'm not speaking for most people here, I'm just speaking for myself, and Polka Power wins. So we're Running with Scissors 5, Poodle Hat 2. Wow. yeah, this is happening. All right then, so Running with Scissors, your horoscope for today versus Poodle Hat. Why does this always happen to me? Why does this always happen to me features Ben Folds on the piano, and that instantly makes it awesome. The subject matter is maybe a little bit, like basically the point of the song is he's going to work one day and then he sees that somebody died in a car accident. And then when he gets up closer, he realizes that it was somebody he knew, and he gets mad because that person owed him $5. You know, at first it starts out like a story, like it's going to be a sad song or something, and then the twist comes. And it's like, oh, he's an asshole. And it's like, oh, God. The song is great musically. Lyrically, maybe not so much. It's just all right. Your horoscope for today, something about the drums in that song always bugged me. Like, it sounds like a giant guy playing drums on a tiny drum set that's like 6 inches tall. That's the way the drums in that song always sounded to me. So it's almost maddening how accurate the drums are in the song, because how could you possibly be that accurate on a drum set that's 6 inches tall? And obviously he's not playing on a drum set that's 6 inches tall. It just sounds like he is, though. Like, I know that's probably because that's the genre that he's making fun of and all, so. But yeah, your horoscope is the better of the two songs, because obviously subject matter and the melody is still good enough to pull it straight through to get a win. So Running with Scissors 6, Poodle Hat, I think it's 6-2 actually. Track 9, it's all about the Pentiums on Running with Scissors versus Ode to a Superhero on Poodle Hat. Ode to a Superhero is a parody of Piano Man by Billy Joel, and it's a song about Spider-Man. So he's like, sling us a web, you're the Spider-Man. It's all about the Pentiums, has great rhymes. It's a really funny song, but it's also extremely obnoxious. There's all the screaming and stuff in it and the heavy guitars, and it's like, did P. Diddy seriously put out a song that sounds like that? Because I remember that it was like a parody of some other song, but then he like brought the Foo Fighters in on it or something. It's just weird to hear a rap song with guitars. You don't hear that too often, like with those intense electric guitars. So because of that, it's definitely got, some originality going on there. Ode to a Superhero is okay, but it's definitely not on the same level as The Saga Begins. And one of the biggest reasons for that is that Piano Man is a slow song. And not only is it a slow song, but it also has a lot of long instrumental breaks where it's just a piano and nothing else. And in addition to that, it also has all the parts where he's like, na 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 da 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 ba ba da 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 da. I mean, you're going on 10 seconds there with lyrics that you can't do anything with, and he doesn't do anything with them because what can you do really? So he just has to sing like normally. But that leaves you with all this extra time where you're anticipating what the next line's gonna be. Because to me, the biggest appeal of Weird Al is the lyrics. And when you have to wait for them, it's just really annoying. So I was never much of a fan of Ode to a Superhero, so I'm afraid Pentium is gonna bring this to a landslide here, and Running with Scissors now has won just in the first 9 tracks, 7-2. But we still have 3 tracks to go, so we might as well do them. So I'll go through these pretty quickly since we already know the result here. But track 10 of Running with Scissors is the truck driving song. A hilarious song. And track 10 of Poodle Hat is Bob, which is basically a song full of palindromes, sung in the style of Bob Dylan. I'm not going out there if that wind is going to be acting like that. No siree. No ma'am. No ma'am. So truck driving song, I mean, it's a pretty cute song. It's basically an old country truck driving song, talking about driving a truck, and then he comes to the big twist of the song, which is driving a truck with my high heels on. And so then the rest of the song is him all talking about, like, don't let my mascara run tonight or any of that. And it's funny, but at the same time, it's kind of like a one-trick. It's like once you get to the twist that it's actually a woman, or that he's actually dressed like a woman, then it's kind of just, oh, yeah, whatever. I guess Bob is kind of the same way, or really, Bob makes no sense whatsoever. But I think that's the whole point of the song, is that he's trying to make fun of, like, Bob Dylan, because I guess the opinion that most people have is that Bob Dylan is kind of an unintelligible singer. And so Weird Al's kind of making fun of him by making these nonsensical lyrics that don't make sense and then singing them in the same sort of drawl that Bob Dylan did. And then, of course, it just so happens to work out that Bob is a palindrome. So every lyric that he sings in the song is a palindrome, which means if you spell it out backwards, you get the same thing. Go hang a salami, I'm a lasagna hog, pa's a sap, ma's as selfless as I am. I always thought that song was brilliant. One thing I always thought was kind of weird though on Poodle Hat was the continuity. After Piano Man, you're used to hearing all those harmonicas. And then you get into Bob and there's more harmonicas. And it sounds like they're playing the exact same thing. I don't know, as much as I love Truck Driving Song, and as much as I've had fun making fun of it with friends, I think Bob is actually the better song. I think it's more interesting, to be honest. It's more kind of unpredictable. And also, I'm fascinated by palindromes. I mean, what can I say? So with that, I guess that brings it to Running with Scissors 7, Poodle Hat 3. Track 11 on Poodle Hat is called eBay. And Running with Scissors is Grapefruit Diet. Of course, you hear me singing Grapefruit Diet all the time. And again, it's a funny song, but it's also one of those songs that he's kind of already done. Because, you know, fat. So he just gets to make more fat jokes like, oh, I hadn't seen my feet in years, or whatever. So he definitely captured the feel of the original song, the original being Zoot Suit Ride by Cherry Poppin' Daddies. But eBay, though, most of us have heard eBay. I think it's one of his most popular songs, actually, nowadays. It's a parody of I Want It That Way by Backstreet Boys, which, admittedly, a little bit too sugary or sweet or whatever for some people. But I think the lyrics more than make up for it. And the fact that he captures, that he gets all the harmonies, every last whoa or hey or don't wanna hey, or any of that. He gets all of it. Like, he doesn't miss a single beat. So, I think it's kind of no contest here. eBay's got to be the winner. Which brings Poodle Hat up to 4. Is now Running with Scissors 7, Poodle Hat 4. Last track, track 12 for Running with Scissors is Albuquerque. And Poodle Hat is Genius in France. Albuquerque actually tells a story, whereas Genius in France kind of just meanders and he keeps talking about how stupid he is, although he can still be accepted in France or whatever. I don't know, it just seems sort of weird that he's talking about French people being dumb, I guess. Or saying that they're so dumb that they consider him a genius. I don't know, just kind of... I'd never heard anything like that before. I mean, I'd heard that they were assholes in Dumb and Dumber, but... The one thing Genius in France has going for it, though, is that it jumps through a bunch of different genres. And it's a total musical adventure. Like, not to say that it's a bad song at all, because it definitely isn't. I just think it's probably a little bit lacking in the lyrics department. And besides, Albuquerque, like... Albuquerque is the kind of song where you listen to it and you're like, did they seriously, like, plan that out, or did they just improv it? Because there's no way you could plan a song like that out. It doesn't seem like there is, but maybe they did. I sure don't know. I guess we'll never know, but yeah, with Albuquerque, that means Running with Scissors closes in at 8 and Poodle Hat 4. So Running with Scissors is the winner. The only other 2 albums that I can think of that I've done this with are 2 albums that most people probably don't know. Toad the Wet Sprocket, Dulcinea versus In Light Syrup. Which I could do those 2, but I'd have to listen to them again because it's been way too long. And I don't know if anybody would be interested in that anyway, because Toad the Wet Sprocket, like, seriously. So yeah, well, I guess that's all. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this off. Ooh, the battery's getting low. Okay, well, at least it actually lasted through the whole thing, so we were able to do this all in one recording session instead of having to come back later. So yeah, I will see you later. Thanks for listening, and goodbye.